Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Amritpal Singh. Coming up in the next 1 hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi shares his thoughts in his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat. Says youngsters without political background entering politics will strengthen democracy. Stresses on the importance of startups in space sector. Israel declares emergency for the next 48 hours, launches preemptive strikes inside Lebanon. Hezbollah retaliates by launching hundreds of rockets and drones inside Israel. Islamic State claims responsibility for the Friday knife attack in Solingen in Germany. German police arrests 2 key suspects. American Space Agency NASA astronauts stuck in the orbit to return with SpaceX crew in February next year. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared his thoughts in the 113th episode of his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat on Sunday. Prime Minister spoke about a number of issues starting from space to politics to animal-human bonding. Prime Minister urged youth to connect with the political system.
इस साल मैंने लाल किले से बिना पॉलिटिकल बैकग्राउंड वाले 1 लाख युवाओं को पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम से जोड़ने का आह्वान किया है। मेरी इस बात पर जबरदस्त प्रतिक्रिया हुई है। इससे पता चलता है कि कितनी बड़ी संख्या में हमारे युवा राजनीति में आने को तैयार बैठे हैं। बस उन्हें सही मौके और सही मार्गदर्शन की तलाश है।
Giving topmost priority to nutrition of children, Prime Minister urged the entire nation to focus on nutrition throughout the year and celebrate it for a month.
हमारा परिवार, हमारा समाज और हमारा देश और इन सब का भविष्य हमारे बच्चों की सेहत पर निर्भर है और बच्चों की अच्छी सेहत के लिए जरूरी है कि उन्हें सही पोषण मिलता रहे। बच्चों का न्यूट्रिशन देश की प्राथमिकता है। वैसे तो उनके पोषण पर पूरे साल हमारा ध्यान रहता है, लेकिन 1 महीना देश इस पर विशेष फोकस करता है। इसके लिए हर साल 1 सितंबर से 30 सितंबर के बीच पोषण माह मनाया जाता है। पिछले वर्ष पोषण अभियान को नई शिक्षा नीति से भी जोड़ा गया है। पोषण भी, पढ़ाई भी, इस अभियान के द्वारा बच्चों के संतुलित विकास पर फोकस किया गया है।
The Prime Minister also touched upon the issue of recycling and asked the countrymen to contribute their part to save the environment.
साथियों, मुझे खुशी है कि आज हमारे देश में कई सारी स्टार्टअप टीम भी पर्यावरण को बढ़ावा देने के लिए ऐसे प्रयासों से जुड़ रही है। ई कॉन्शियस नाम की एक टीम है जो प्लास्टिक वेस्ट का उपयोग इको फ्रेंडली प्रोडक्ट्स बनाने में कर रही है। इसका आइडिया उन्हें हमारे पर्यटन स्थलों, विशेषकर पहाड़ी इलाकों में फैले कचरे को देख करके आया। ऐसे ही लोगों की एक और टीम ने इको कारी नाम से स्टार्टअप शुरू किया है। ये प्लास्टिक वेस्ट से अलग अलग खूबसूरत चीजें बनाते हैं। साथियों, टॉय रिसाइकलिंग भी ऐसा ही एक और क्षेत्र है जिसमें हम मिलकर काम कर सकते हैं।
Prime Minister Modi also spoke about the National Space Day that was celebrated yesterday to mark the soft landing of Vikram lander at the Shiv Shakti point on the southern part of Moon last year.
21वीं सदी के भारत में कितना ही कुछ ऐसा हो रहा है जो विकसित भारत की नींव मजबूत कर रहा है। जैसे इस 23 अगस्त को ही हम सब देशवासियों ने पहला नेशनल स्पेस डे मनाया। मुझे विश्वास है कि आप सबने इस दिन को सेलिब्रेट किया होगा। एक बार फिर चंद्रयान 3 की सफलता का जश्न मनाया होगा। पिछले वर्ष इसी दिन चंद्रयान 3 ने चांद के दक्षिणी हिस्से में शिव शक्ति पॉइंट पर सफलतापूर्वक लैंडिंग की थी। भारत इस गौरवपूर्ण उपलब्धि को हासिल करने वाला दुनिया का पहला देश बना।
PM Modi was in Jalgaon in the state of Maharashtra on Sunday. He took part in the Lakhpati Didi conference where he distributed certificates to 1.1 million new Lakhpati Didis. He released fresh funds for women entrepreneurs. The scheme aims to provide financial assistance to women entrepreneurs and help them achieve financial independence. Lakhpati Didis are the women entrepreneurs who earn above 100,000 rupees annually. And the Prime Minister also interacted with beneficiaries of the scheme from across the country.
लखपति दीदी बनाने का ये अभियान सिर्फ बहनों बेटियों की कमाई बढ़ाने का अभियान है, इतना नहीं है। ये पूरे परिवार को, आने वाली पीढ़ियों को सशक्त करने का एक महाअभियान है। ये गांव के पूरे अर्थतंत्र को बदल रही है। यहां इस मैदान में मौजूद हर बहन बेटी अच्छी तरह जानती है कि जब वो कमाने लगती है तो कैसे उसका अधिकार बढ़ जाता है, घर परिवार में उसका सम्मान बढ़ जाता है। जब किसी बहन की कमाई बढ़ती है तो परिवार के पास खर्चने के लिए पैसे भी ज्यादा जुड़ते हैं। लखपति दीदी बनना पूरे परिवार का भाग्य बदल रहा है।
DD India's correspondent Shishir Shelar caught up with some of these women entrepreneurs or Lakhpati Didis who shared their joy and excitement and also their stories of empowerment. Take a look.
Well, the cover Indian government is giving more focus on the women empowerment, and that's the reason we have seen that many schemes launched by the current government under the Prime Minister of Narendra Modi. Well, of course, Lakhpati Didi is one such scheme actually is providing a relief to all the women in the country. They're starting their jobs, their own business and benefiting from it. But how they're benefiting? We have one such Lakhpati Didi. She will tell about her experience. Ma'am, tell us about your experience and how beneficial is this particular scheme is for you to do your own work.
I'm so excited. I'm from Sikkim. I am so many excited today. But SSG, before SSG, I'm not doing work.
Self-help group.
Doing work, but I'm coming SSG group, making SSG group, and
How many people are connected with, especially women's are connected with you, and they've also got benefited from this?
So many SSG.
So many women from SSG group.
SSG group with me, 10 SSG.
Okay. So you can see that the enthusiasm among these women also. They're sharing the experience that through women's self-help group, they've been benefited and doing their job and their business quite well. Shri Shila for DD India, Jalgaon.
Okay, moving on. On Sunday, Hezbollah retaliated against Israel by launching hundreds of rockets and drones inside Israel. The group claimed to have fired over 320 Katyusha rockets hitting 11 military targets inside Israel. This attack marked the beginning of their response, with more actions expected in the coming days. And in preparation for the assault, Israeli jets had already launched preemptive strikes on targets inside Lebanon. Meanwhile, Lebanon's health ministry said 3 people were killed in Israeli strikes in the country's south. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that the country would take all necessary measures to protect itself.
Early in the morning, we identified Hezbollah's preparations to attack Israel in consultation with the Minister of Defense and the Chief of Staff. We instructed the IDF to act proactively to remove the threat. The IDF has since been working vigorously to thwart the threats. It destroyed thousands of rockets aimed at the north of the country. It also thwarts many other threats and operates with great power, both in defense and attack. I ask you, citizens of Israel, to follow the directives of the Home Front Command. We are determined to do everything possible to protect our country, to return the residents of the north safely to their homes, and to continue to uphold a simple rule: whoever harms us, we harm him.
And Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant on Sunday announced a 48-hour nationwide emergency after the Israeli military launched preemptive strikes inside Lebanon. The emergency enables the IDF or the Israeli Defense Forces to issue instructions to citizens of Israel, including limiting gatherings and closing sites where it may be required. Israel on Sunday warned that Hezbollah's actions towards Israeli territory could lead to wider regional escalation. Israeli military said that it was striking Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in self-defense.
We can see that Hezbollah is preparing to launch an extensive attack on Israel while endangering the Lebanese civilians. We warn the civilians located in the areas where Hezbollah is operating to move out of harm's way immediately for their own safety. Hezbollah's ongoing aggression risks dragging the people of Lebanon and the whole region into a wider escalation.
The military also warned the residents to immediately leave areas where Hezbollah was operating, with air alerts, sirens sounding across the country's north.
The IDF is striking terror targets in Lebanon from which Hezbollah was planning to launch their attacks on Israeli civilians. This follows more than 6,700 rockets, missiles, and explosive UAVs fired by Hezbollah at Israeli families, homes, and communities since October 8th.
And as the emergency was declared in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant held a meeting at the command center in Tel Aviv. Israel's Prime Minister's office said that they were assessing the situation, and the Prime Minister will convene the Security Cabinet shortly. Meanwhile, the Defense Ministry said that Gallant briefed his U.S. counterpart Lloyd Austin on the overall situation, asserting that Israel was determined to use all means at its disposal to defend its citizens. U.S. Secretary of Defense assured of all help to Israel to address its security threat. The two leaders also discussed the importance of avoiding regional escalation. And the next meeting on the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas will take place in Cairo this evening. U.S. President Joe Biden had indicated that talks between Israel and Hamas are taking place in Cairo, and they went well on Saturday. Cairo is hosting the high-level meeting of officials from Egypt, the United States, Qatar, Israel, and of course the Hamas, with the aim of reaching an agreement to stop the Israeli war on Gaza and complete the exchange of detainees and prisoners. On Saturday, they held one round of discussions to bridge gaps between the positions of Israel and Hamas. Responding to questions from reporters on the status of the Gaza truce talks, Biden gave a thumbs up. And Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib McCarthy held an emergency meeting on Sunday with officials and caretaker ministers at his residence in Beirut to review the security threat emanating from the escalating situation. And to give us more on the evolving story, we are joined by DD India's Sarah Coates from Tel Aviv. Sarah, first of all, give us a sense of what the latest situation is in Israel as emergency has been declared, especially what the situation on the Israel-Lebanon border is.
Well, this was certainly a major escalation earlier this morning. The IDF's Home Front Command putting out a 48-hour advisory for people to stay very close to shelter, but that has since been lifted in central parts of the country like here in Tel Aviv, although that directive does remain for residents in the north who have been told to stay very close to shelters. Now, we can tell you that university exams have been cancelled and a number of flights have also been cancelled in and out of Ben Gurion Airport, that is the international airport, not far from where I'm standing. Carriers like Air France suspending these flights until further notice. Now, as we go to air, it remains pretty quiet on that border. Rocket alert sirens haven't rung out for some hours now. But this is certainly a very worrying situation, given that Hezbollah says that this is only phase one of its retaliation for the assassination of the second in charge of Hezbollah, Fouad Shakur, that happened, as you may remember, in Beirut a little earlier this month. So certainly a very tense time on the ground. Beaches in the north have been closed. People are not allowed to go there. But in terms of what's going on the ground here in Tel Aviv, it really is business as usual.
Okay. And Benjamin Netanyahu, Sarah, has called a meeting of his security cabinet. What is your sense? What is the Israeli assessment? Are they mulling over more strikes on Hezbollah?
Well, that is yet to be seen. We aren't privy to that kind of information, although Hebrew media is reporting, saying that an Israeli warship was hit in the Mediterranean Sea by one of these rockets launched by Hezbollah. That remains unconfirmed, but we certainly do know that the Israeli Prime Minister has convened his top-level staff, including the Defence Minister Yoav Gallant. And that was shortly after Gallant had a phone call with his counterpart in the United States, the US Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, who came out to reaffirm the US's ironclad commitment to Israel's defense and any attacks by Iran and its proxies. Now, in addition to this, President Biden spoke out saying that he is closely monitoring events in both Israel and Lebanon. So certainly it is a time of tension here in the region and a time that people are really hoping that if indeed a ceasefire were to come into play, then potentially this may bring down tensions in other parts of the region.
Okay. Sarah, let's talk about the talks going on in Cairo. What are you hearing? The Americans say day one went good. They'll meet again. Do you get a sense that they're working towards narrowing the gaps in the hardened positions of both sides?
There really isn't a lot of optimism surrounding these ceasefire talks. They've been going round and round in circles for months now. Now, we can tell you that an Israeli delegation is on hand in Cairo as these key mediators really try and get these gaps closed between Israel and Hezbollah. We do, of course, know that Hamas is not directly participating in these talks. We do know that a Hamas delegation is actually on hand, but they'll be meeting with these mediators at the end of each day when these talks do wrap up. Now, one of the main sticking points here is, of course, Israel's insistence to remain present with troops on the Philadelphia corridor. That is that very narrow strip of land that divides Egypt and Gaza. And this is a very strategic region, given that Israel says it will not leave, because if it does, it believes that there will be weapons smuggled actually from Egypt into the Gaza Strip. So certainly a lot hinging on these ceasefire talks currently going on in Cairo. And as I previously mentioned, a lot of hope that if indeed a ceasefire can be reached after more than 10 months of fighting, that this could bring down tensions, temperatures in other parts of the region. But at the same time, while there is a lot of hope, there is really not a lot of optimism.
Okay, but there are divisions and cracks within the Israeli establishment also, isn't it, Sarah? With Ben-Gvir saying that, the Shin Bet chief who's in Cairo saying that, he was responsible, and if he gives away anything, he'll be responsible for security situation in Israel. So there are divisions, so that could affect the talks that take place or the proposals put forward by the Israeli side.
Of course, there have been disagreements over the last few months over the way that Benjamin Netanyahu has really been handling his negotiating team. Some of these key negotiators have been quoted as saying things like basically Benjamin Netanyahu has been handcuffing them, not giving them enough leeway to actually go in and get these talks done. There's also, of course, this pressure that Benjamin Netanyahu has been facing for months upon months now, and that is from the far right wing of his coalition, like Itamar Ben-Gvir. He is the far right national security minister, and he's always been threatening to walk away from the government if Netanyahu makes what he calls an irresponsible deal with Hamas.
Okay. Sarah Coates, many thanks for joining us from Tel Aviv and giving us those updates. And in the latest from the Russia-Ukraine conflict now, Moscow launched several missiles and drones overnight targeting northern and eastern Ukraine as per Kyiv's military. The attack targeted Ukraine's frontline regions of Chernihiv, Sumy, Kharkiv and Donetsk. Meanwhile, 5 people died and 12 others were injured after Ukraine shelled the town in Russia's Belgorod region. Speaking at a joint press conference with Poland's and Lithuania's leaders, Ukrainian president said that the Kursk operation is part of the preventive move to stop Russian plans to capture northern city of Sumy.
It was a preventive blow, and our operation fulfilled this task. We prevented encircling of Sumy region and the desire to occupy the region's capital, the city of Sumy.
A man suspected of a stabbing rampage in the western German town of Solingen has been taken into police custody after the attack that killed 3 people. North Rhine-Westphalia's Interior Minister Herbert Raul said that authorities spent the day following a hot lead that led to the arrest. The man was affiliated with the home for refugees that has been searched earlier in the day. Raul added that a manhunt was conducted after the attack, making 2 arrests that were likely not the perpetrators. Earlier, the Islamic State group claimed the responsibility for the attack that occurred in Fraunhof, a market square in Solingen, during a festival marking the city's 650th anniversary. The attack also wounded 8 people. 2 NASA astronauts, that's Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore, will now return to Earth in February next year on SpaceX vehicle. The pair, who rode on Boeing Starliner spacecraft to the International Space Station in June, were expected to be on an 8-day test mission, but have been stuck for 8 months because of the problems with Starliner's spacecraft. The spacecraft faced problems including helium leaks and malfunctioning thrusters on its way to the space station. The agency, therefore, took the rare decision of reshuffling the 2 astronauts to a SpaceX mission and returning the Starliner empty. NASA Chief Bill Nelson said that the decision was taken for the safety of its crew.
Space flight is risky, even at its safest, and even at its most routine. And a test flight by nature is neither safe nor routine. And so the decision to keep Butch and Sonny aboard the International Space Station and bring the Boeing Starliner home uncrewed is a result of a commitment to safety. Our core value is safety, and it is our North Star.
In Bangladesh, the Central Secretariat in Dhaka has once again come up to a standstill on Sunday as paramilitary auxiliary force Bangladesh Ansar personnel have blockaded the complex, preventing any entry or exit. The Ansar forces have been protesting for the past 2 days, demanding nationalization of their jobs. They claim to have been subjected to prolonged discrimination and say that previous assurances to address their concerns have not been fulfilled. The protesters vowed to continue their blockade until their demands are met. Weather update now. Northeastern Sao Paulo in Brazil is grappling with large fires that were causing significant damage to large areas of farmland and forests, cloaking cities under smoke. The blaze spread to numerous towns in the Sao Paulo region and posing a threat to local communities. At least 36 cities have been put on high alert. The state government has also warned that the forest fires could spread rapidly from gusts of wind, potentially razing large areas of natural vegetation. Meanwhile, the Sao Paulo state government has created an emergency committee to handle the fires, which had blocked some 15 highways. Brazil's wildfire season typically peaks in August and September. This year, wildfires started unusually early in Pantanal, the world's largest wetlands, in late May, while the number of fires in the Amazon rainforest surged to a 2-decade high for the month of July. This is what government data showed early this month. The confirmed death toll increased to 13 following landslide in Phuket on Friday. Search and rescue operations have concluded and will be followed up by a major cleanup, with recovery efforts expected to continue for another 2 to 3 days. The provincial governor of Phuket said that 19 people were injured and 209 households were affected due to the landslides. The catastrophic floods in India's northeastern state of Tripura have created a dire situation, with crisis intensifying in the Battal and Gharantal villages within the Sonamura division of Sefalajala district. The rising water levels of Gomti and Rudrasagar rivers have left residents caught in a precarious situation as floodwaters inundate homes and force evacuations. As families are displaced and seek refuge, various organizations have stepped in to offer the much-needed assistance. The Kuwait Pravasi Foundation, for instance, has been actively providing relief by distributing dry rations to those affected by the floods. And let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov was arrested at the Bourges airport near Paris on Saturday evening. The official said that the 39-year-old had been arrested under a warrant for offences related to the popular messaging app Telegram. As per a TASS state news agency, Russia's embassy in France is taking immediate steps to clarify the situation. 45-year-old Indian tourists remain unaccounted for after falling into the sinkhole in Kuala Lumpur on Friday. Surveillance footage shows the woman tourist plunging into the approximately 8-meter deep chasm while shocked bystanders scrambled to safety. The authorities in Malaysia are working to find the missing woman. Local authorities have yet to determine the cause of the sinkhole. And still to come up on DD India News Hour, Home Minister Amit Shah inaugurates the Zonal Office of the Narcotics Control Bureau in Chhattisgarh. India's Earth Sciences Minister Jitendra Singh chairs a meeting on US-India civil nuclear commerce. Holy cities of Mathura and Vrindavan decked up for Janmashtami celebrations. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Amritpal Singh. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi shares his thoughts in his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat. Says youngsters without political background entering politics will strengthen democracy. Stresses on the importance of startups in space sector. Israel declares an emergency for the next 48 hours, launches preemptive strikes inside Lebanon. Hezbollah retaliates by launching hundreds of rockets and drones. Islamic State claims responsibility for the Friday knife attack in Solingen. German police arrests 2 key suspects. American Space Agency NASA's astronauts stuck in the orbit to return with SpaceX crew in February next year. Well, India's Earth Sciences Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh chaired a pivotal bilateral meeting of the US-India Civil Nuclear Commerce, highlighting the deepening cooperation between the two nations in critical areas of science, technology and clean energy in New Delhi. Dr. Singh announced that an Indian astronaut from the Gaganyaan mission is set to join the International Space Station, marking a significant milestone in Indo-US space collaboration. He emphasized the importance of this partnership in securing global supply chains, especially in sectors like semiconductors, pharmaceuticals and clean energy technologies, which are increasingly vital in today's interconnected world. India's Home Minister Amit Shah inaugurated the zonal office of the Narcotics Control Bureau in Nawa Raipur in Chhattisgarh and also took a review meeting with officials in the state. The meeting was attended by officials from the Intelligence Bureau, the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, Railway Protection Force, India Post, Forensic Science experts, Ministry of Social Justice, Enforcement Directorate, among others. The meeting discussed ways to prepare a strategy to stop drug smuggling across the country. The discussions were also held on raising awareness among the youth and students. Home Minister Amit Shah told the officers to investigate drug smuggling in a scientific manner.
हमने लक्ष्य रखा है कि देश में हर राज्य में नारकोटिक कंट्रोल ब्यूरो की स्थापना की जाए और इसके माध्यम से राज्य सरकार का सहयोग कर ड्रग के दूषण को कंट्रोल करने का भारत सरकार का गृह मंत्रालय प्रयास करेगा। ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग का ट्रेंड बदल रहा है। नेचुरल ड्रग से सिंथेटिक ड्रग की ओर ड्रग तस्कर आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, जिससे बहुत कम मात्रा में ड्रग आती है और सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान और सबसे ज्यादा कीमत भी उसकी होती है। इन्वेस्टिगेशन को साइंटिफिक तरीके से हम करें, टॉप टू बॉटम और बॉटम टू टॉप अप्रोच को एडॉप्ट करना पड़ेगा। जब तक आप पूरी चेन को समाप्त नहीं करते हैं, ये पूरे नेटवर्क को ध्वस्त नहीं कर सकते हैं, इस पर हम कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते।
India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visited the Naval Surface Warfare Centre at Kadarok and witnessed the path-breaking experiments at the facility during his ongoing visit to the United States. Rajnath Singh said that India and the US look forward to working together and benefit from each other's experiences. Meanwhile, the US government has given its nod to the sale of anti-submarine warfare sonobuoys to India. The anti-submarine gear is likely to cost $52 million and may give a boost to India's anti-submarine warfare capabilities in the Indo-Pacific or the Indian Ocean region.
Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, who is on a 4-day visit to the United States, met US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on Friday. The two leaders discussed ongoing defense and industrial collaboration projects between India and the US. and potential areas where their industries could work together. In the meeting that took place at the White House in Washington, D.C., they also discussed the evolving geopolitical situation and other key regional security issues. The defense minister later held a roundtable discussion with leading defense companies. He also invited US defense manufacturers to India. Meanwhile, in a major boost to the Indo-US defense cooperation, the US approved a $52.8 million government-to-government deal for sale of anti-submarine warfare sonobuoys that will be integrated with Indian Navy's Romeo helicopters. The deal is likely to strengthen India's capabilities to meet current and future threats by enhancing its capacity to conduct anti-submarine warfare operations from its MH-60R helicopters in the Indian Ocean region and the Indo-Pacific region as well. Earlier, Rajnath Singh also met Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, where the two leaders held wide-ranging discussions on bilateral defense cooperation, industrial collaboration, regional security, and other international issues. Both the leaders also discussed India-US defense industrial cooperation roadmap that was signed last year, which is likely to transform the defense industry of both the nations. Akshay Dongre, DD India.
And my colleague Akshay Dongre joins us for more on the story from the newsroom. Akshay, give us what this Naval Surface Warfare Center at Carter Rock is, which the Defense Minister visited.
Well, it's perhaps one of the largest and most advanced, technologically speaking, naval warfare center across the world, Amritpal. In fact, Rajnath Singh going there has a lot of significance as far as this trip is concerned, given the fact that the trip has been largely focused on enhancing defense cooperation, learning from each other's expertise, and given the fact that the United States Navy is not only one of the largest, in fact, the largest Navy, but also the most technologically superior navies around the world. India has a lot to learn as far as a technological advancement that the US has made as far as technology, as far as armaments, and also these kind of warfare centers that the United States has made. Now, be it torpedoes, submarines, and other kind of equipment that works underwater, the tunnels that are in this Naval Surface Warfare Center in Tennessee is the place where all of this is tested. In fact, Rajnath Singh, when he visited, there was a live experimentation also done in front of him to show him the kind of usage of technology that is being done by the United States Navy as far as the operations are concerned, testing of equipment that is being built in the United States, be it submarines, be it torpedoes, the sonobuoys that we are talking about, that the United States government has agreed to sell to India for a cost of $52.8 million, that is going to enhance the surveillance capabilities of the Indian Navy. Now, the United States also realized the fact that it's not just the US or the allies of US in the Indo-Pacific region that are threatened by the growing hegemonic tendencies of the Chinese Navy, but it's also India that is getting impacted by the similar kind of intrusions, similar kinds of transgressions that is being done by the Chinese Navy in the Indian Ocean region. And the mode of usage of these transgressions has largely been the submarines, them being harder to detect. It has been a menace as far as the Indo-Pacific region and the Indian Ocean region is concerned, as far as freedom of trade is concerned, these kind of manipulative tactics that have been used by the Chinese Navy too, by usage of submarines. And that is why the US has agreed to sell these kind of sonobuoys that will be working in tandem with the MH-60R helicopters that India has acquired from the US, has bought from the US, that also are highly technologically advanced as far as anti-submarine warfare is concerned. So similar kind of demonstration was done today in the Naval Surface Warfare Center in the US, where Rajnath Singh was present to ensure that as far as collaboration is concerned, how and in what ways technological collaboration can be done between the two countries.
All right, Akshay Dongre, many thanks for joining us and giving us that update. The Indian Navy's warship INS Mumbai will arrive in Colombo on Monday for a 3-day visit. The Sri Lankan Navy will ceremonially receive the ship. During its stay, INS Mumbai will deliver essential spare parts for the Dornier maritime patrol aircraft operated by the Sri Lankan Air Force. Along with this, INS Mumbai will also conduct joint activities with Sri Lankan Navy, including sports events and yoga sessions. INS Mumbai is the third of the Delhi-class destroyers, and which was commissioned in January 2001. India and Sri Lanka have successfully concluded the 10th edition of their joint military exercise Mitra Shakti, reflecting the growing defence cooperation and mutual trust between the two countries. This year's edition of Mitra Shakti was marked by the participation of over 100 personnel from each country, engaged in a series of tactical drills, field training exercises and live firing exercises. The exercise helped both armies to understand each other's doctrines, tactics and procedures to evolve drills while operating in counter-terrorism, regional peace, security and peacekeeping operations. Moreover, the exercise serves as a platform for both nations to address the common security concerns, including the maritime security, anti-terrorism and the disaster response. The successful conduct of Mitra Shakti 2024 is a clear indicator of the strong bond between India and Sri Lanka. The second round of the India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable will be held in Singapore on Monday. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and Railways, IT and Information Broadcasting Minister Ashwini Vaishnav will participate in the roundtable. The meeting will enable both sides to review various approaches of their strategic partnership and identify the new avenues to further elevate and broaden it. The India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable is a unique mechanism established to set a new agenda for India-Singapore bilateral relations. Its inaugural meeting was held in New Delhi in September 2022. During the visit, the ministers will interact with their counterparts and will also call on the Singaporean leadership. Bodies of over 2 dozens of Indian tourists who were killed in a deadly bus accident in Nepal have been brought back home on Sunday after being airlifted by the Indian Air Force. An Indian passenger bus carrying 43 Indian tourists was plunged into a river in Nepal a few days back, killing 27 people on board. The remaining 16 people are still being admitted in the hospital.
क्राफ्ट में हम ये 25 जो लोग हैं उनको आज यहाँ लाए, अभी एम्बुलेंस में अपने अपने घर पे उनको सबको भेजा है और जो 16 लोग हैं वो वहाँ पे हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हैं, उनका पूरा रिकवरी वहाँ पे करने के लिए हमारे लोग रुका है और वहाँ का मेडिकल स्टाफ तो पूरे उनके केयर में है और इंडियन एम्बेसी भी पूरा ध्यान उसके लिए रखती है.
And the latest in the Kolkata rape and murder case. The investigation agency CBI is conducting searches at multiple locations in connection with the alleged financial irregularities of RG Kar Medical College and Hospital as part of an ongoing investigation. Also, CBI started a corruption case against the prime suspect Sandeep Ghosh by filing an FIR on Sunday. Two investigating agencies on Saturday conducted the polygraph test of the 6 people, including Sandeep Ghosh. However, the polygraph tests on the main accused, Sanjay Roy, is likely to take place on Sunday. And Kolkata Police has also extended prohibitory orders near the state-run RG Kar Medical College and Hospital for an additional 2 weeks till August. Indian Cabinet has approved introduction of the Unified Pension Scheme for central government employees. The UPS or the fund or the pension actually is to be initiated from the 1st of April 2025. The key suspects of the UPs are as follows: employees who have adequate service to get in a short pension of at least 50% of the last 12 months average, and as minimum pension of 10,000 rupees per month to be given to those with at least 10 years of service. Family pension to spouse to be given at 60% of the pension, dearness relief to be given on the assured pension, minimum pension and family pension. In addition, lump sum to be provided for retirement. The employee contribution shall remain unaltered at 10% of basic pay and DA. The government contribution to be increased from the present 14 to 18.5%. Full assured pension to be available for minimum qualifying service of 25 years. For lesser years of service, the pro rata secured pension to be given. Employees would have a choice to opt for UPS. An employee could choose to continue with the NPS if she or he so desires. Employee unions have by and large welcomed the United Pension Scheme announced by the government. Let's listen in to some reactions.
इसमें एक चीज़ बहुत अच्छी कही गई है जिसका जिक्र किया गया है, जो लोग रिटायर हो गए हैं उनको एरियर्स भी दिए जाएंगे। 2004 से जो 2025 तक रिटायर हो जाएंगे उनके हक में इसका इतलाक़ किया जाएगा और इख्तियार दिया गया है कि आप न्यू पेंशन स्कीम को चूज़ करते हैं या यूनिफाइड पेंशन स्कीम को चूज़ करते हैं।
इसका वेलकम करते हैं होल हार्टेडली। 4.5 लाख एम्प्लॉयज इसका वेलकम करते हैं और पर्टिकुलरली वो एम्प्लॉयज जिनको जो यहाँ पे एनपीएस लागू हुआ था 2010 के बाद, तो ये एक खुशाइंद कदम है एंड वी वेलकम इट। ये एक बहुत बड़ा फायदा मिलेगा कि जो पहले पेंशन फिक्स नहीं थी एक एम्प्लॉय की, अब एक एम्प्लॉय को एक पेंशन फिक्स होगी जिससे उसको पता चलेगा कि मैं रिटायरमेंट के बाद किसी पेंशन का हकदार हूँ।
Let's now take a look at other stories making news. Doctors in Southern India's Coimbatore have developed a unique app device to predict the weight of the baby inside the mother's womb. The app will help doctors and would be mothers to compute prenatal weight estimates. Janmashtami is around the corner and the holy cities of Mathura and Vrindavan are gearing up for unforgettable celebrations. It is celebrated to honor the birth of Lord Krishna, the revered 8th incarnation of Vishnu, while the festival is joyously observed across the globe, with celebrations in Mathura and Vrindavan holding a special charm, as these two cities are deeply intertwined with the birth and early life of Lord Krishna. Okay, now a story from Nagaland. Just a few kilometers from Nagaland's bustling capital lies Konoma, a warrior village known for its fierce resistance during the British rule. Overlooking lush forests and terraced paddy fields, Konoma is Asia's first green village, offering visitors a blend of rich history and natural beauty. DD India's correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya files this special story.
Nestled amidst the lush hills of Nagaland, India, lies Konoma village. A place steeped in history, culture and natural beauty. Known for its rich Naga heritage and commitment to environmental conservation, Konoma stands as a model for sustainable community-led tourism and biodiversity preservation. Nagaland is home to many indigenous villages, each with its own unique charm. However, Konoma stands out with its well-planned layout, abundant homestay options and breathtaking wildflowers. The village's stark natural beauty is maintained exceptionally well by its residents. One of the highlights of Konoma is the short hike that offers gorgeous views of the rice field. Konoma village holds a significant place in Naga history. It is renowned for the brave resistance against the British colonial rule during the late 19th century. The villagers of Konoma has actually earned the nickname Land of Warriors. The village's rich historical background is evident in its traditional architecture with sturdy wooden houses and community meeting houses that showcases the artistic skills of the Naga people. Locals proudly preserve their heritage through traditional festivals, art, crafts and folk music, offering visitors a unique glimpse into their vibrant culture. The inhabitants have even built a mini museum with artifacts from World War II. Once known for hunting, the people of Konoma have transformed their practices to conserve wildlife and ecological diversity. In 2005, the Tourism Ministry of India named Konoma as India's first green village. For centuries, Konoma has been following sustainable agriculture practices in tandem with their conservation plans. Konoma village is not just a place, it's an experience, a lesson in sustainable living. Tapush Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for news from the world of sports. A bunch of over 20 Indian para-athletes departed for Paris Paralympics from the Delhi airport on Sunday. Various reputed para-athletes such as table tennis stars Bhavina Patel and Sonalben Patel, para-badminton players Manoj Sarkar, Manisha Ramdas and gold medalist Krishna Nagar, and para-athletes Sachin Sarjerao Khilari and Sakshi Kasana, among others, were at the airport to catch their flight to Paris. The Paris Paralympics will start from August 28th. India has sent their largest ever contingent of 84 athletes who participate in 12 disciplines.
Preparations are going really well, and I have did lot of training and everything. I gave it all in my training this last 2 months. And also this will be my first Paralympics and I'm very excited and very happy, and I just want to give my best and I just want to execute my game on every match. I'm top athlete, so I'm in a top scheme, and it supports us really well, and it's funding for all our training, every tournaments we travel, and for everything, whatever we require for sports, everything they are providing, and it's really helpful.
The 2024 Paralympic torch relay started on Saturday from Stoke Mandeville in England, where the event was first imagined by neurologist Ludwig Guttmann in 1948. British Paralympians Helene Ren Astford and Gregor Ivan lit the Olympic flame and the torch, passing it on to the bearer for the first leg. The torch will then be carried by 24 French athletes who will take over the journey to Clesna and further to Paris, where it will be used to light the Paralympic cauldron during the opening ceremony on Wednesday. That's it then in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Amritpal Singh. From my entire team here in Delhi, thank you for watching DD India News Hour.